Hello, good morning. I usually say happy Monday, but today is Tuesday and I apologize for it being late, but we had a monster of a snowstorm and not only got a whole lot of snow, which is still there, but it messed with the electric a little bit. So it wasn't convenient to do a recording. So today is better, and so here I am that we're looking at the Dow here. You can see that it is right at the all time. I was going to say all time high. We are right at the high of the day, up 531 points. It definitely rose this morning, then kind of went flat, a few little tiny pullbacks flat, and now is right at the high of the day. The NASDAQ looks very similar, was negative to start, rose, pulled back, back and forth, flat, and now is at the high of the day, up 221. And the S&P, very close to the same, started down, rose, flat, flat, and right at the high of the day. All of them are up an awesome percent, and I mention that because you can see here the Russell is up the highest percent, 1.5%. Again, it started down, rose, did some quicker pullbacks, rose, and is very close to the high, but has had the greatest move of the day. And overall, you can see that this is, I don't want to even say mostly green, but green enough, and equities are up enough, whether you look at Apple up 2%, Walmart up 3%, and so on, up enough that overall it has brought the indices up to the highs of the day. So I'm going to scoot over here. We've looked at this before, and going to say, okay, where is the Dow on the monthly chart? Because we have been watching it rise, and it has risen and is way up here. The last couple weeks, not weeks, months, have been bullish, but just a little bullish. This started sloping down last week at the end of the month, and so it was like, okay, is this over? But so far, we have gone bullish today, and things are still looking upward. We look at the PPO is up, ADX up, green line on top rising. Say that it is sloping down a little bit, and there's just a little something in the red line that looks like it's not heading straight down, that it might be starting to flatten out a little bit. Now, when I look at this, one of the things that jumps out at me is the fact that if you look at these like last 6-7 blocks that are right here, that here you could see that the bearishness, the blocks were getting bigger, and then they started getting smaller as price was heading up. Well, once it got bullish, crossed the zero line, those are teeny tiny small blocks. So it has, like, yeah, it is bullish, it is up, but it is not rising like this with a lot of energy and support and volume and so on. It is just kind of holding its own and just very, very flat. And we are starting to see just little tiny signs where it is starting to turn down. So let me switch this and we'll look at a weekly chart and see what it looks like on a smaller. Again, still up here with on the CCI, we're still creating green fins where this was sloping down Now there's this little bit of a green oomph right there where it's starting to rise. And when you look at the candlesticks, you can see, oh my gosh, here we were at an all-time high 4 weeks ago, or 5 weeks ago was the fifth week was the high. And then the next 3 weeks dropped, drop. Not a lot, but a little here at R1. And so now we are pushing our way back up again and pressing into that R1 line. And we will have to see if this remains up for the week. Then will the next week here start at R1 and start heading up, getting to an all-time high and rising up here closer to R2. We will have to see. We scroll down here, and this is what one of the main things I wanted to look at because I looked at this the other day on Friday, and the PPO here technically has crossed down. You can see this is a minus number. So when this ended on Friday, which was the end of January, and the month and the week closed, this was down, and it is still down. The black line is under the red line. So technically, this P3 pattern that was playing out technically has ended, and we are now in a P3.5 bearish trade. You can see these little blue blocks are down below the zero line here. And so we will have to see how this week plays out. It could be that this will bounce back up, and this little downward move that was happened and confirmed will end, and we will go back up like one of these where it kind of touched right here and then headed back up again. Or if by the end of the week more momentum and volume goes bearish, then we'll end up with some white space between the red line and the black line, and we will be going into perhaps more of a pullback. So we will have to see how this plays out. But at the moment, it looks like this is bullish, and maybe the PPO will cross back up, and this will inch up over R1 and head up a little bit here toward R2. So we will have to see how this all plays out. Certainly today, let's flip back over here. Certainly today, this is definitely looking bullish. We are way up here at the highs of the day. So that is great. That's awesome. It is, if you're bullish, and that's what you're looking for, is for the market to continue up. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I apologize for it being a day late, and I will see you next Monday. Take care now.